A Taygetan supply mission to Earth. Hello again. Thank you for being here with me once more. I hope you are very well today. I am Marie. This information can be seen as science fiction, or as the viewer sees best, and I post it for entertainment purposes only. Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. The next is a typical example of what my group has to do to get supplies and other needed things from Earth. I am sharing this for you to understand how we live up here, and how it fits with what I have been saying about us. Remember one key thing I am always saying, and that I consider of supreme importance: we are more people like you, and there are more people like us all over space. Taygetans in general, for example, the crew of the other starships here depend on the food and things, solely from the supply vessels that bring them from home planets Tema and Era. But after several years orbiting Earth, and as they have learnt and absorbed much of its culture by immersing themselves in their problems and society, the few Taygetans here in Starship Toleka have also awakened to see and understand all the problems with Taygetan society, and also with the Galactic Federation and its matrix, which grip far exceeds the limits of planet Earth. After several years of being immersed in Earth's culture, mostly through the internet, the needs of the members of this crew have turned to be more human, by simple empathy and absorption of social costumes, many of which are very positive and beautiful. This is especially so in the case of the few of us who have lived on Earth for some years, as step-downs, having adopted a human identity as an enriching life experience. Those of us who have experienced life on Earth have a unique perspective of both cultures and of how Earth and its super-contained and isolated culture and society fit in and blend with the rest of the greater galactic society. This means that we become a bridge between humankind and Taygetans, as well as the rest of the stellar community. We have a foot on each world. We can understand Earth humans and their society far better than the Taygetans who only study it from afar, but this comes at a cost for us, because having lived there, we do miss many things a lot, and I don't only mean missing objects such as art, gadgets, and the clothing we like, as well as the food. We also end up missing the interaction, and the friendship we once had with people like you, and a lot. This is one of the reasons why we cannot be fully independent of Earth as the rest of the Taygetans can be, as they logically would only depend on what their home planet and culture has to offer. Being children of two cultures, we simply need and want things and food that are only found on Earth, without mentioning the fact that my body and my biology dislike Taygetan food. I simply cannot digest so many varieties of plants, starches and sugars, but that is only me, as the rest of the crew can eat both Taygetan food and Earth food. This means that we end up traveling down to Earth for supplies several times a month, or as needed, and the procedure is the following. After orbiting Earth for several years, and having studied Earth's topography and geography, as well as what parts of human society are in what geographical areas, including all their problems, we have carefully chosen some areas which are the safest for us to go to for supplies. I cannot say which ones for safety reasons, of course. In some of the areas Taygetans use the most, there are safe houses, which are regular households where people used to live in, little bases where to arrive and from where to go out to get the supplies. There used to be many before, but nowadays only a few such safe houses remain on the entire planet, because of the high maintenance costs and the lack of resources to sustain them, and they are a burden to keep. When supplies are needed, the Taygetans select the crew members who have the most experience dealing with humans, face to face, and with such missions. It is usually the same group who gets selected for such missions, with one or two new ones who volunteer to go down for the first time in their life, just for the experience, or looking to become one of the ones who go down for supplies regularly. The supply mission is carefully planned during a ship-wide council meeting, and then it is executed, when and as planned. The selected Taygetans with a lot of experience dealing with humans are usually highly trained Hashmalim or Shinanim operators, which can be seen as Taygetan equivalents of SOG, or Special Forces units on Earth, like Spetsnaz, Special Air Services, Delta Force, or Navy SEALs, and do move militarily. They prepare the mission in a fully military way, and with a defined chain of command, being in this context where the principles of a holistic society do not apply, simply because the leaders of the units have far more experience than the newer ones, therefore equality does not apply in high-risk environments. Hashmalim special operators are all men, whereas Shinanim is all women, and even though they usually do not mix, for supply missions they do, as that helps them blend in with the human population more effectively. During some of the supply missions, some Taygetan people which are not Special Forces operators may tag along for one or another specific purpose, but remain highly guarded by their military counterparts. The members who are selected may include the few who hold an official human ID card, who have a human official identity, false or not, in this last case because they were once a step down, a fact that comes in handy for a supply mission. As they prepare for the supply mission, the operators dress in comfortable human clothes which are congruent with the area selected for the mission. They equip with human gadgets and tools, as well as some concealed Taygetan defensive weapons and muon communication devices. Then they prepare the vehicle or vehicles needed for the supply mission, which usually is an aging human-built four-wheel drive SUV, legally registered to the area where they will be going down to. A fighter-class starship is selected, and the vehicle or vehicles are driven in through the ship's frontal ramp, which is similar to the one found on human-built cargo aircraft such as a C-130, and secured inside. Then the special operators board the fighter starship, usually a Scimitar or a Suzy class, and fly down to Earth under cover of the night, with a second fighter starship escorting them close above, both with full ECM active, that's electronic countermeasures, to avoid human detection as much as possible. As they approach the LZ, which is the landing zone, they will scan the area from above to look for human presence, and if found they will move to the next designated LZ. This is tricky because roads usually have posts and power lines running next to them, making it very difficult or impossible for a large starship to land and unload a wheeled vehicle. When the designated area is reached, which is usually some miles away from the city they will get the supplies from, the ship will land on a faraway, almost forgotten strip of rural road, paved or not, and the vehicle or vehicles will roll out of it and onto the road in a matter of seconds. As soon as the vehicle is out and running, the starship will close its frontal ramp and quickly take to the night sky, and RTB back to Toleka. The second, escorting fighter starship will remain giving air cover for the wheeled vehicle until it has reached the city, and its safe house, in case there is any, and then it will too, go RTB, or return to base, in its mothership, Toleka. Then the operatives either go to a safe house, or remain in their vehicles until sunrise, and it is finally time to go shopping like any normal, and easy to confuse with another, human would do. This is where the Taygetans with some kind of human identity card, false or not, usually not false, but taken from a human donor will come in handy when going to solve necessary human official procedures and problems, such as vehicle registrations and banking. Identities and step-downs might be a subject for a future video. This is also exploiting the Galactic Federation's highly controversial mandate which dictates that all human-looking people of stellar origin must be considered and treated as more humans in the moment they step off a spacecraft, and are subject to all the laws and rules of human society. This mandate highly places us at grave risk. It limits the movement and operational capacity of all stellar humans on the surface of the Earth, and is even cruel. The movement of the operatives on the surface is usually limited to walking distance. They prefer to use vehicles as little as possible, because they may be easy to track. When all the supplies are bought and placed inside the vehicles, the operatives will usually wait until it is night again, usually well before dawn the next day, and they drive again to the designated area, which may be or not the same one they were dropped off in, and at the agreed time. Since they leave the town or city they were fetching supplies in, and drive away into the mountains through secondary roads, they are escorted by 2 fighter-class starships, one of which will descend once they have reached the landing zone, or LZ, to get the operatives and the supplies on board again. The Taygetans in the vehicles will arrive at the designated coordinates, usually over a road, and await the signal coming from the starship above, which usually includes the flashing of the ship's front floodlights, as it descends in front of them with its frontal ramp open. The ship's landing gear is deployed, and as soon as it touches the ground, the vehicle or vehicles are driven in by their own power, and secured inside the ship with wheel clams. Once they are all inside, the front ramp is closed, landing gear retracted, and the dust-off has been concluded, all in under 5 minutes, sometimes in under 2 minutes. The fighter ship with the operatives and the supplies, as well as its escort, fly RTB, or return to base, on board Starship Toleka. Where they land, the vehicles are driven off the fighter ship to a decontamination, or cleaning ramp inside the hangar where they are sprayed with high-pressure water, and dried with compressed air. This procedure is mandatory to prevent as much as possible the introduction of harmful seeds, spores, and creatures, such as spiders, into the ship. But sometimes, due to habit, this step is omitted, with bad results, as a black widow spider and its web were discovered in the front landing gear wheel of one of the ships, worse even, because that ship has never been used to go down to the surface. And in another similar incident, a giant bullfrog was found dead, stuck dry on the landing gear doors of another fighter ship, parked in Toleka's hangar. How that frog got there remains a mystery to this day, but is a testimony to the importance of cleaning the vehicles as they come up. Then the supplies are carefully inspected and cleaned for the same reasons, and then dispensed to their owners in Toleka, to the people who want or require them, for example, Yaji's Lego sets, or placed in storage and refrigeration, as is the case of food. As the last stage of the supply mission, the operatives are all gathered in a special closed room and are debriefed. This room has a rectangular table and computer screens inside, holographic and digital. We call this soundproof room the fish tank, due to its transparent walls all around. The supply mission has concluded. This will be all for today. As always, thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing, and subscribing for more. And I hope to see you here next time. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.